So hey Ben, what you up to?
Well, I'm in the middle of replacing this fence. I'm replacing a 4-wire barbed wire fence with this new suspension style fence. So the way it works is that, well, first of all, here's the fence that I'm replacing. Or not the fence, but timber splits with 4 lines of barbed wire. And I'm replacing it with 7 lines of, that's cool, with the suspension style fence, which is, you might have seen it on Facebook, the Walters guys. They have their fancy go-go gadget truck where they put out their fence, and it looks really awesome. I'm not as cool, I only have a tractor, but it's the same kind of product. So it's 7 plain wires like this, and then you set it up, you put in your star pickets, and then you run these out. So I've got my picket to say 15 metres, and then I space that out, put that one down there, and then this gets clipped at the top and the bottom, and once it's all strained up, it's an incredibly rigid fence. The other big advantage is that you can electrify these, and that makes it hot on both sides, so it's electric on both sides rather than just on one side or the other, or both with offsets. So that means any animal can kind of sense it before they come there and move away. It's a lot more humane than a barbed wire fence, which can scratch up animals quite a bit. And also, barbed wire fence is not particularly effective. They'll still get through, whereas this really seems to stop animals. We've got some wild dogs, we've got pigs, we've got deer, and it seems to work for all of them. I mean, the deer obviously just jump over a fence that's only 1,500 high, but certainly for pigs and dogs, it keeps them out, and it keeps goats and cattle in, which is what I'm after.
So it's called Westonfence?
Yeah, so that's where I ran into trouble. What I was after was this product, which is Westonfence. And I did some research, and I kind of worked out that these guys they've been making a fence in parks in New South Wales for a few years. They've got a pretty good reputation, so I asked for Westonfence. I got a quote from them, and then along the way, via a reseller, I seem to have got sold into Gallagher ipost, which is a competing product. Gallagher is a multinational out of New Zealand, and they have created a similar kind of competition, which is very similar and hard to tell the difference. And I kind of got tricked into buying 2 pallets of this stuff, and so I thought I'd kind of share some of the ways that you can tell the difference, because I was probably the first idiot to buy this stuff, and I've now got some experience in fencing with both this and the Gallagher thing, so I kind of have a better handle on what the differences are.
So how do you tell the difference?
Well, it's tricky. I mean, the easiest thing is to look at it. So first of all, the price is identical. Both prices are the same. But the easiest way to tell the difference is if you have a look at the label. So the Westonfence has a Westonfence label on it. It also has a Made in Australia label on it. The Gallagher ipost doesn't have any kind of labeling on it. It's completely blank and black. Obviously the same color, same kind of shape when you compare the two. So it can be pretty hard to tell the difference unless you know. But one doesn't have a label, one does. So that's the easiest way to tell. The other key difference is that, like, if you're in a store, you'll see that the Gallagher ones come in packs of 10, like that. The Weston ones comes in packs of 30. So 30 is enough to do 150 meters of fence, which is kind of a pretty normal amount of fence for me. And so it's certainly, having it in the larger pack size makes it a lot easier, because when you string this up, you've got to put a needle through to feed the wire. So having to do that several times with the smaller pack is a bit of a pain, whereas with the bigger pack it's much easier, it saves you a bit more time. So that's handy. The other key difference is if you look at this, the number of holes. So in the Gallagher one, there are 14 holes. In the Weston one, in the D7, there are 7 holes, which to me makes a lot of sense because I'm putting up 7 wires. I honestly have no idea why anyone would need to run 14 wires. Maybe if you were farming rabbits or something like that, it might be good. But 14 wires, I asked the question, they said it was to give more flexibility. It certainly does make it more flexible because of the increased hole, it does make the product a bit weaker. Gallagher are a New Zealand-based multinational who were in a marketing partnership with Weston. And that stopped a while ago, but they keep on using the term Gallagher Weston, which is what they use with me. And it can be a bit confusing. You think you're buying a Weston product, but you're actually, the term Gallagher Weston now seems to refer to the Gallagher ipost, which is this thing. In Australia, a lot of the rural supply shops have relationships or have deals with Gallagher, so they're already selling their other stuff. So the problem is if you go in there and ask for Weston, you may end up with this, which is what happened to me. And so I think unless you know what you're looking for and kind of know exactly what it is, it can be a bit tricky.
So apart from the labelling and the holes, they're the same?
Not really. If you pick them up, you'll tell the difference straight away. This one's a lot lighter. The Weston is about 20% heavier, and that's because they just use more plastic. So both of them are plastic, and that's why they're really good insulators. They're keeping the wires apart. They're fairly rigid, but because this one has a lot less plastic in it, it's a lot weaker, right? And obviously with fencing, you want a dropper that's kind of as strong as possible, and critically doesn't bend or deform. As you can see with this one, it's bent. I don't know whether you can see that, how it's bending like that. I mean, if I line it up against the Weston one, you can see how much it's bent. I haven't done anything to this. I haven't bent it, I haven't sat on it or anything like that. It's just what happens to them. The plastic, I think what's occurring is that the plastic's getting warm and it's cooling down, getting warm, cooling down, and then because maybe one side is thicker than the other or something, they've stuffed something up, but it kind of bends in this banana shape. The problem for me is that I've got now all these fences that I've put up using the Gallagher product, which are bent in bananas. I now have to rip them down and replace them with the Weston product. Gallagher did come out because I said, hey, you've got this problem with the product. They don't seem to think this is a problem with their product. They came out, they peacocked around, and they said, actually, it was my fault that this product is bending like this. I don't know really why, but that's what they kind of came to the conclusion of. The other issue with being lighter is that on a hot day, and I'm not talking about stinking hot, I'm just talking about, say, 35 degrees, you find the Gallagher product is very difficult to work with, or I certainly did. So what happens is, and this won't be a problem if you're on a completely straight run, but if we just walk up here, so it's a lighter product, and when you run it out and on an area where there's a slight dip, which there is here, but you might want to lift it up so it's just clearing the vegetation and stuff here, and you might want to tweak your fence line slightly. So what I found with the Gallagher ones on a hot day is when I was lifting it up, the whole thing just flops over, which can be really, really frustrating and very hard to work with. And it means pretty much on a hot day you can't do much in terms of fencing. I I've also got concerns that these are going to deteriorate over time, because I mean, this is only a month old or 2 months old, and it's already bent like that. So I don't know what's going to happen, you know, next. It probably is okay over winter, but over summer it certainly seems to get impacted by the heat, which is not what you want from a product that's designed to be outside all the time.
But isn't a lighter fence easier to work with?
So I think the Gallagher product is great because it's pretty light. You can carry it around. The pack size is small. So I think that would work well if you were, say, on a hobby farm or something like that. Easy to carry around. Maybe if you were in an area where it didn't get too hot, and, you know, flat terrain, it's probably something to look at. But certainly if you're in country that has some undulations, if you want to try and do longer runs, and not crazy long, but over, say, 100 meters, and if you're doing this professionally, I think you'd really start to struggle if you were using the Gallagher stuff. And I think the Weston is just seems to be a much better product, much better design, better thought through, and they've got a lot more experience in this kind of product. So yeah, if you've got any comments or feedback or ideas, if this has happened to you, let me know. Leave me a comment. If you disagree with me, leave me a comment. Yeah, happy to have a chat. Thank you.